Socrates, the granddaddy of Western philosophy, didn't write a single word, yet his ideas are immortal. Born in Athens around 470 BCE, he wandered the Athenian streets, and yes, the original social media, engaging in dialogue, questioning everything from virtue to justice. His methods, the Socratic method, basically a philosophical version of why, that he used to unveil contradictions in his interlocutors' views. Socrates believed that the unexamined life wasn't worth living, prompting folks to think deeper about their existence. Unfortunately, he made some friends and enemies along the way. Accused of corrupting the youth and impiety, he was sentenced to death in 399 BCE. Rather than flee to safety, he famously accepted his fate with a cup of hemlock, calmly discussing philosophy while doing so. This act of defiance became a powerful symbol of unwavering commitment to one's beliefs. So, the next time you're grappling with a moral dilemma, just remember, Socrates probably faced a worse fate while pondering the meaning of life. Plato, the star pupil of Socrates and a philosopher who practically invented the academy. Think of it as the first university. Born in Athens around 427 BCE, Plato's writings explore everything from political theory to metaphysics. His most famous work, The Republic, features the allegory of the cave, where prisoners trapped in a cave mistake shadows for reality. Spoiler alert, it's a metaphor for human ignorance. Plato founded the academy, where future thinkers like Aristotle learned their craft. His ideas shaped not only philosophy, but also science, math, and education. Fun fact, he believed that the ideal government should be led by philosopher kings. So, anyone down to elect a wise person instead of a pop star? His vision was that society could become truly just when guided by enlightened leaders. Despite being influenced by his teacher, Plato's unique theories, like the world of forms, allowed him to stand out, forever etching his name in the annals of philosophical glory. Aristotle. Now let's turn to Aristotle, the intellectual powerhouse who studied under Plato and then decided to branch out like a tree. In fact, that's what Aristotle means. Born in 384 BCE in Stagira, Greece, he was an avid observer of the natural world. He classified countless species, making him a pioneer in biology, and proposed theories in physics that would take centuries to be fully appreciated. His writings spanned ethics, metaphysics, politics, and even poetics. He basically had every subject covered. His idea of virtue as a balance between extremes is relatable. Nobody wants to spend their life swinging between sloth and hyperactivity. Aristotle's legacy included the establishment of the Lyceum, his own school. He influenced countless figures, including the likes of Thomas Aquinas in the Middle Ages. Don't you just love how this ancient philosopher laid the groundwork for so many subjects? As they say, behind every great thought lies Aristotle, probably pondering how to tame the universe one syllogism at a time. Epicurus. Now let's dig into Epicurus, a guy who had a pretty unique take on happiness. He believed pleasure was the key, but not in the wild party every night way some might think. Born on the island of Samos in 341 BCE, he established his school in Athens known as the Garden, where he promoted a philosophy of simple pleasures, friendship, and the pursuit of tranquility. Epicurus was all about minimizing pain and maximizing joy through thoughtful choices rather than indulgent excess. Surprisingly, some of his ideas have been misconstrued over time, as he often found himself associated with hedonism. His actual philosophy was much more nuanced. Here's a quirky fact. He didn't believe in an angry God punishing us for our choices, which would ideally make us all feel a bit more relaxed. Although some criticized his views, Epicurus encouraged self-reflection and understanding as a means to live better lives. If you ever find yourself worrying about your life choices or existential dread, Epicurus is the perfect philosopher to consult for a collective chill-out. Zeno of Citium. Next up is Zeno of Citium, the father of Stoicism, who seems to have cracked the code to emotional resilience. Born around 334 BCE in Citium, Cyprus, Zeno had quite the unconventional career path. He eventually found his passion after a shipwreck landed him in Athens. He absorbed various philosophies before founding Stoicism, which teaches the art of inner peace and virtue through rational thinking. Zeno believed that we should focus on what we can control and let go of the rest. Doesn't that sound refreshing in today's chaotic world? He also taught that emotions shouldn't drive our decision-making, but rather reason should lead the dance. Legends even account Zeno's days of teaching at a stoa, a covered walkway, which is where his followers would gather, hence Stoicism. His approach has influenced countless modern thinkers and continues to resonate with anyone navigating the stormy seas of life. So, if you're facing a rough day, channel your inner Zeno and remember, keep calm and stay rational. Heraclitus. Let's tiptoe into the world of Heraclitus, the philosopher who famously claimed that you cannot step into the same river twice. Born in Ephesus around 535 BCE, Heraclitus had a flair for describing fundamental change, the idea that the universe is in constant flux. He was a bit of a mystery himself, often referred to as the weeping philosopher, due to his rather somber outlook on life. One of his most famous ideas is that of logos, an underlying order to the cosmos that humans struggle to comprehend. Heraclitus valued strife and conflict, seeing them as necessary to bring about harmony. So, the next time you argue with your buddy about pizza toppings, you can credit Heraclitus for helping you find balance. His worldview was shaped by paradoxes, which makes his thoughts delightfully complicated yet profoundly impactful. Although he's often overshadowed by other philosophers, Heraclitus reminds us to embrace change and seek wisdom amid chaos, a lesson that hits home every time the Wi-Fi goes down. Pythagoras. The man who made triangles cool. Pythagoras, the ancient math genius whose theorem is still the backbone of geometry. Born on the island of Samos around 570 BCE, Pythagoras wasn't just about numbers. He founded a mystical religious movement known as Pythagoreanism. It's said that he believed numbers and mathematical relationships underlie everything in the universe, even in music and harmony. His followers embraced a strict lifestyle, including vegetarianism and communal living. What's fascinating is that Pythagoras didn't just chalk up his theories to equations. He infused philosophy with spirituality, believing that numbers held cosmic significance. You see, Pythagoras was like the original math-loving kombucha drinker, blending philosophy with health. Although we know him for his famous theorem about right triangles, a2 plus b2 equals sine c2, he also dabbled in ideas about the immortal soul and reincarnation. It's astounding how a guy from ancient Greece pushed the boundaries of math, philosophy, and spirituality, influencing both fields for centuries to come. Diogenes of Sinope. Now let's meet Diogenes of Sinope, the ultimate iconoclast and the original live free or die hard philosopher. Born around 412 BCE, this fellow is the poster child for cynicism, which is, ironically, not about being cranky or negative. Diogenes advocated living in virtue in agreement with nature and rejecting societal norms. The most famous story about him involves roaming Athens with a lantern during the daytime, claiming to be searching for an honest man. Talk about a way to stand out at your next social gathering. His living situation was equally unconventional. He famously resided in a large ceramic jar and had little use for material wealth. His witty quips and unfiltered lifestyle made him both a figure of ridicule and admiration. Diogenes believed that a truly fulfilled life is found in simplicity, making him a precursor to minimalism. So, the next time you're overwhelmed by consumerism, just take a leaf out of Diogenes' book. He'd probably suggest downsizing to a jar. Protagoras. Step aside for Protagoras, the man who had the audacity to say, "Man is the measure of all things." Born around 490 BCE in Abdera, this Greek philosopher raised eyebrows with his relativistic views, suggesting that truth varies from person to person. His assertion of subjective truth essentially gives us a philosophical, to each their own vibe, very progressive for his time. Protagoras was a keen teacher and is often recognized as one of the first sophists, a group of skilled rhetoricians who taught methods of persuasion. But what's a sophist without a bit of controversy? Some saw their teachings as questionable, often conflating truth with convenience. Interestingly, Protagoras' skepticism about the divine led him to say, "Regarding the gods, I have no means of knowing either that they exist or do not." Politically active, he even got into trouble for opposing traditional views, which wasn't uncommon for thinkers of his era. So, if you ever find yourself in a debate, be sure to flex some Protagoras logic. Just remember to define your terms first. Plotinus. Finally, let's dive into the mind of Plotinus, the philosopher who brought Neoplatonism to life. Born in Alexandria around 204 CE, he was a serious thinker who sought to merge Plato's teachings with his mystical flair. He believed in the One, a transcendent source from which everything emanates, kind of like the universe's ultimate Wi-Fi router. Plotinus asserted that the material world is a pale reflection of this perfect realm, and here's the kicker: by focusing our minds on the higher realities, we can transcend the mundane. He was big on introspection and mystical experiences, encouraging his followers to seek true knowledge through inner contemplation. Over his lifetime, Plotinus wrote a series of 6 Enneads, which pushed the boundaries of metaphysics and spirituality. Ironically, he was also a realist. He believed our souls are not separate from the divine, but part of a greater whole. Plotinus champions the idea that true happiness comes from aligning with our inner essence. So the next time life feels chaotic, remember, there's a Plotinus-level perspective waiting to elevate your thoughts. Found this video interesting? Then leave us a like and subscribe for more videos like this one.